Okay, we are going to continue with Gemara Taanis and Chav Dalid. We're going to start from the bottom of Chav Gimel and Beis, the bottom line. Try to get it done under a half an hour as requested. Rabbi Yosi bar Oven Havishkiach Hamid Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi, the son of Oven, was frequently found in front of Rabbi Yosi, aka he would learn Torah from him. The Min Yukros, from the place called Yukros. It's the name of a place, as Rashi explains. Shov Kev Osya Lakaimid Ravashi. So he left him. Rabbi Yosi bar Oven left and he went to learn Torah in front of Ravasi, who, by the way, authored the Bavli in Taanis with Ravina, the Gemara. Yoim Echad, Shmiya Deka Goddess. One day he heard that Ravashi was learning. Amar Shmuel, Shmuel comes along and says, it's actually different opinions about who was hearing who learned this in Rashi. We're going to learn it this way. Amar Shmuel, Shmuel says, Hashoy ledag min hayam b'Shabbos kevan shavish bo ketzel chayiv. Someone who removes a fish from the sea on Shabbos, since it dries the amount worth of a sell of a coin, you're going to be obligated, aka you're going to be liable on Shabbos. You will be held accountable, as Rashi explains, even though the fish is still mefarches, it's shaking afterwards, and you then throw it back and you put it in the water. Nevertheless, you're going to be chayiv. Also, Tosos explains this. You're going to be liable on Shabbos to bring a korban chatas if it was done accidentally, if it was done with witnesses and warning, then skila, stoning, etc. You're going to be obligated because netilos neshama that you killed the fish, which is one of the 39 malachos on Shabbos. Amar lei, Rav Ashi said, "B'leim amar ubein san piriv." So why don't you say? So why don't you say? So he told Rav Ashi, right? Rashi over here explains it's actually a discussion who was telling to, but why didn't you say between the fins? Which means why didn't you say that when you remove it, right? That why did you say that it's going to be the shear of the sella of the coin of the fish? Why didn't you say that it was going to be between the fins over here? Why don't you specify that specifically? If it dried over there, that would be a sign that now the fish will die, and therefore you're going to be liable over there if it dried out over there. So he says, Amar le v'lo savar lamar tahi Rabbi Yosi ben Rabbi Avin Amra. So, so he said back, and you don't hold. This is we're going to go with the text that Rav Ashi said this back. All right, Rav Ashi said this back, then that's what we're going to go like. Rav Ashi said, and you don't hold that Rabbi Yosi, the son of Rabbi Avin, said this statement, which is the rabbi who is the student over here who is learning and who he is talking to. Amar lei, so Rabbi Yosi responded, Ana nihu, I am that individual, I am that person. Amar lei, v'lav kaimi de Rabbi Yosi de min Yukras v'ishkiach mars. Rav Ashi said, weren't you learning in front of Rabbi Yosi from Yukras? Weren't you frequenting over there? So what are you doing over here by me to learn from me? Amar lei, and he said, yes. What's the reason that you left him and you came over here? Now he asked the question. Amarlei, so he told back to Ravasi, Gaver the Bal the Al Birya Al Briya Al Berose Loichas Al Didei Hechakayas. Someone, a person that on his own son and daughter he doesn't have mercy. How is he going to have mercy on me? Priya Mahi, what's the story? He doesn't have mercy on his own son. Yoim Echad, one day, Havi Igreile Igidi Bedabra. One day he hired workers in the field at Nagalahu Veloisilu Rifta, and he was late and he didn't bring them bread. Commentators explain that it seems like it was either in the document, the arrangement that they had, that he was going to bring them food, or he did it every single day out of pure kindness. But anyways, Amrulay, and they said Liberi, they said to the son of Rabbi Yosi, this is Rabbi Yosi bar Oven, Kaifinan, we are very hungry over here. Haviyesu tute teina, they were sitting under a fig tree. Amar teina teina haitzia peirusecha. They said, you figs, you fig tree, that you should produce some fruit. V'yochenu po abba, and then the workers of my father could eat it. Afkihu va'achlu. It produced, and then they ate. It was a miracle. Miraculously produced fruit prematurely, and then they ate it. Adahachi v'adahachi. In the meantime, in the interim, Ata Avua, his father came. The father of Rabbi Yosi bar Oven came. Oven came. Amar lahu, and he told them, Lo tinketu b'dai seichel. Don't suspect me. Rashi explained, don't suspect me that I didn't bring you food until right now. The haidin hagino, the reason why I was delayed, a mitzvah tarchinana, I was burdened with the mitzvah, hashtahu disagi, and until this point I was burdened myself, and therefore I was delayed because I was involved with the mitzvah. Amrulay, they responded back. Rachmana lisbeyecha ki yehechi de'aspin rerech. Hashem should satiate you just like He satiated your son. Amr lu meyecha. He said, "What are you talking about exactly? What are you referring to?" Amr, they said, "Hachavachim." I said, "This is what happened." Amr lo, he told them. Beni, he told his son, Oven told his son, Rabbi Yosi, Beni ata terachta es konecha lohoitzi teinu perotzer shelo bezmana Yosef shelo bezmana. You burden your creator to produce figs, the fruit from the fig tree, in not its time when it wasn't ready. Now you should be gathered not in the proper time, meaning that you should die earlier because of this. This is a pretty severe statement to tell his son. The Aruch explains that he belittled the words of the Chachamim that said that it is incorrect to burden the Creator to do something which goes against nature. So he didn't have mercy on his son. Brose Maihi, the daughter, what's the case? Havyile Brose Bailis Yoifi. His daughter was very beautiful. Yoim Achad, one day, Chozyala hu Gavra the Havri Kriya Behutza. One day he saw a person that he was looking Behutza. Behutza means that basically he was removing the or a type of fence that he had made out of wood, and he was actually doing it to see through the hole over there. That's Behutza. Rashi says, "Soiser gedra itzim k'dei l'stakel derech hanechid." He was trying to look through the hole, and he was trying to look at this Bailas Yoifi, this pretty girl. Amar lo. So he said, "Mahi." So he said, "What's going on? What are you looking at over here? What are you doing?" Amar le. So he said back, Rebbe. He said, Rebbe, if I am not going to merit to take her, which means in marriage, so then I can't merit to see her. Now, this obviously is a very cryptic Gemara, and you have to be very careful with this. We'll explain it momentarily. Amar le, Rabbi Yosi said back to her, Biti, my daughter, come et sartzlu briosa. Shuvi v'achrech, my daughter, you're painting the creations. Return to your dirt. Val yikshalu bich b'nei adam, and don't cause other people to sin. You're so beautiful that you're causing others to. What are they doing now? They're looking at you and they're having improper thoughts and everything. You have to be very careful for this. Now we have to get an explanation over here. Why did Rabbi Yossi say that now she essentially should die? Why didn't he say like what he said earlier, that she should just become not as good looking? That's to the Gemara that we saw in the previous daf. So the Ben Ish Chayes is in the Bed Yehoyada, and he said that no, he didn't want to try to change nature like we just saw. However, a premature death isn't considered changing nature so much because at the end of the day, everyone will die. The Ba'acheds, what is the Bach Ed in Oz Beis? He says, V'chein Havi, and that's what happened. Havi le'ahu chamna, the Havi agiri. There was a donkey that they used to rent. Kol yoima orsa Havi. So, in other words, the idea from this is you have to be very careful, and that's why people have to dress modestly. V'chein Havi, and that's what happened. Havi le'ahu chamna, the Havi agri. There was a donkey that they used to rent out. Kol yamalo orsa Havi meshadri le'agra agabe v'asil lebei mari. Every single night. So then they would send the donkey a payment. They would send the person who lent out the donkey, the lender, a payment, and they would put it agaba on the back of the donkey v'asil lebei mari, and it would go to the owner's house. Incredible idea. V'itafu le'obatzirila. And if the payment was either too great or too little, the donkey wouldn't even move. An amazing idea, an amazing concept that we see from over here. Yoim Achad, one day, Inshu Zuga the sandali Allah v'loy azla adishakalinuhu minei v'hadar azla. One day, it forgot over here, and the shoes. Someone forgot his shoes on the donkey, and it didn't go. The donkey didn't go until they removed the shoes. And then it went. An amazing idea, very special donkey. They go into the commentators, Reb Pinchas Ben Yair. This donkey, why this one isn't as famous? There's answers. A lot, because the simple answer is this is actual theft. Elazar ishrat kar havi chazile legabi istaka havi tashu minei de komanda havi gabi yehevlahu. So this is talking about over here, Elazar, person from Birta, whenever he saw the people who were collecting staka, so Tashu Mine, they would run away from him. Because whatever he had, he would give. Anything that he had. So the idea is they didn't want to now take everything from him right now, specifically at this time. And they knew that if he saw him, then he was going to give all of his money away. So they hid from him, as Rashi explains. Yoim Echad, one day, Yoim Ochad, one day, Havisaluk Lashuko Lemizbin Yudu little bit also. One day he went to the marketplace to buy a dowry for his daughter. Chazyu Gabe Staka. So now the Gabe Staka, the collectors of the stock of the charity over there saw him Tashu Minei, and they hid from him, like we just said. Ozil V'Rahat Batrai, who he went and he ran after them. Amrluhu, and he told them, Ashbi Taichu B'Mayaski Gitu. He said, I'm making you swear. Tell me, what are you dealing with? Which means, what charity are you collecting for over here? I want to contribute. They told him, Biyasim v'yasaima. We are actually collecting for orphans, that they should marry each other. They didn't have money so that they could marry each other. Amr Lahem, he told them, Havoid Hashem koin lebiti. He said, I'm making a swear. They come, as Rashi explains, I'm making a swear. They come before my daughter, the own dowry of my daughter. Now, the obvious question on this Gemara is, what do you mean? The halach is that first, when it comes to charity, you have to give to the people who are closer to you, aka your own family first. Nevertheless, the Ein Yaakov answers that the orphans who no one else could deal with even come before everyone else, surprisingly. Shakal called Dahavi behedav yehevilahu. He gave all the money that he had, and he gave it to them. Pashle chadzuza zavin. The Bach adds the skiers to change bei chiti. He was left with one zuz because they didn't need that last zuz. Seems like, and he bought wheat. He bought wheat with the leftover money. Va'asik shaja be'achalva. And then he brought them to his house and he threw it in his closet. Asik dibituhu, his wife came, Amrle, and she said, Liberase, Maya avuch. So his wife told his daughter, what are you bringing for your kids? Well, excuse me, my I see avuch. What did your father do for you? What did he bring? What did he get? What did he bring? She responded. The daughter responded to the mother, Kol ma de'isi be'achalva shajase. Whatever he bought, he put it in the closet. Asi lemiftach babe da'achalva. They went to open the doors of the closet. Chazya akalva demalin chitin v'kanafka b'siyura dedashav aloyim miftach v'baba nichitai. He saw they tried opening the closet and saw that it couldn't open over here because of everything on the threshold. It couldn't open because of all the wheat. The Mal Yechite was filled with wheat, and it was coming through the threshold, and they actually couldn't open it up. So that's the idea over here. The daughter went to the base medrash, Amrale, and she told her father Eliezer, Bo Ray, look. Come and see. Look at what the one who loves you did, aka Hashem. Amar la. And he responded to her, Havoida hari lecha, hari hain. He said, I'm swearing that this is hektish alecha. This is considered like designated. And the Yabet actually explains this is considered designated as charity, all of this abundance that we got for poor people. Vein lecha behem ela ke'echad mani Yisrael, and mani Yisrael, and we're gonna have no portion in it except for just like one of the poor Jewish people. Rashi over here explains very important. Rashi, this is Ma'aseh Nisim who v'asad the Mahadana Ma'aseh Nisim. This is considered miraculous gains from a miracle, and therefore it's prohibited to benefit from that, like we learned on Chaf Amid Beis. If a person would benefit from that, it would menachem lo mizuchu Yosef, it would detract from his merits. Just want to point out one note from the above story that I forgot to mention. Oh, actually, no, never mind that. So that is the story over here. Okay, continuing in the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Gazar Tanisa Bar Achmin V'Otam Mitra. Rabbi Yehuda, the Nasi, he decreed a fast, and they prayed, and the rain didn't come. Amar Kama Ikom Mishmuel Ramasi Glutim Gamliel. He said, look at the difference between Shmuel Haramasi and me, Yehuda, the son of Gamliel. Oy loy ledor shekach nizka. Woe to generation that it got stuck like this, it got affected like this. Oy lemish also be kach. Woe to someone who it happened in this generation. Chaladai say vasi mitra. He got weak in his mind, and then the rain came. Debei nasi gazav tanisa v'loy Rabbi Yochanan v'Reish Lakish. In the house of the Nasi, they decreed a fast, and they didn't inform Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. In the morning, they informed them. So Reish Lakish told Rabbi Yochanan in the morning, we didn't accept this fast upon ourselves from at night. We say it doesn't, nevertheless, we're still dragged after them, and therefore we could still partake in this. Rashi explains over here that in the time of Shmuel, he caused the rain to come at any time that he wanted. That's the idea. And now all the Jews are coming, and still we can't do it. That's the idea over here. So we get dragged after them. Rashi explains. The Bein Nasi goes to Tunisia, follows in Mitra in the house of the Nasi. They decreed a fast, and the rain didn't come. So then Oshia, the young one from Chavria, he came along and said, "What is the idea of this?" It says in the Torah by the chatas of a sibor, if they have to, if the congregation has to bring a sacrifice and they made a mistake and they worshipped idolatry. Pasuk says, if it was accidental, very interesting Gemara over here. This is analogous to a bride that was in the house of her father. Kolzman, the entire time that her eyes were pretty, that they were good, they were healthy, her body doesn't need to be checked. And now terufos, if her eyes are soft, some explain different explanation of this word called gufas serach bedika. Her entire body needs to be checked. In other words, the eyes are very telling of a person's health. Very insightful Gemara. The eyes of a person, they could prove on the rest of their body. The nimshal is, the lesson from the story is, if the eyes of the generation sinned, so then you have to check over the rest of the generation as well. The leaders of the generation are considered like the eyes of the generation. That is the lesson from over here. This could be explained that it's talking about physical appearance, and that is the simple explanation. However, the Ein Yaakov offers an additional insight over here, and he says that no. It's spiritual eyes. What does this mean? Someone who has a good eye, not a bad eye, and is generous, etc. You don't need to check after the rest of his midas, the rest of that individual's character traits. You could assume that they're already good. Interesting idea from the Ein Yaakov. The Gemara continues and says, "Asu avde v'rami leisuja b'savari." So the servants of the Nasi came and they threw a like a type of sudar, like a scarf on his neck, v'kamitzarele, and they were painting him. Amru, so Amru lahu, there's a text change over here. Beni master. So the people of the town, they told him, Shavke, Dahainami mitzaralan, leave him alone because it's also painting us. Give the chaz the kol male the shum shamayim lo amrle v'lo imidiv shakrule v'asanami shavkuhu. Since they saw that everything that he was doing, this is talking about Rabbi Oishia. So everything that he was doing for the sake of the heaven, they didn't say anything, and they left him alone. So then you should also leave him alone. That's the Gemara over here. Yeah. Okay, so this is the Gemara over here. Rebbe Gazer Taanis of Lo Mitra. Rebbe decreed a fast, and then the rain didn't come. Nachikaime Ilfo, they went in front of Ilfo, who we learned about earlier on Chaf and Aleph. Remember, Rebbe Ilfo, sometimes Rebbe Ilfo Amar Mashiva Ruach V'Nas Shaziki. He said Mashiva Ruach, and the wind started to come. Morida Geshem, he said Morida Geshem about the Mitra, and the rain started to come. Amru Amayvdich. So Rebbe said, what do you do? How did you get such a merit? Amarle, he said, Dairinim Bekufsa de Dachia Deleis Behu Chamra. I live in a Rashi translates these words. I live in a city and Bekusa Didachia, yeah. This is talking about a village, and they don't have a lot of money in that village, and they don't have wine. They don't have the wine for Kiddush and Havdalah. So what happened? Tarchina v'aisina nechamer lekedusha v'avdalta. So I burden myself and I bring the wine for kiddush and avdalah. Umafikna lahu yidei chavosayu. And then I fulfill their obligations by saying the kiddush and the kiddush over there. It should be pointed out, there is a question in this, how could you fulfill the obligations in Kiddush Malkum Suda? Kiddush has to be in a place where the meal is going to be. A lot of halachas on that. The Shar Mitzvah halacha says that it could be that on a Torah level, they would have fulfilled their obligation. That could be the idea over here. At least on a Torah level. That is questioned also, or you could hold like the opinion who holds that you don't need Kiddush in its place. Either way, the question I think is better than the answer. Rav who asked her Gazer Tanis of Mitra. Rav visited a place and they decreed a fast and the rain didn't come. Nachas Kaimei Shlichut Tzibura. So this is talking about that he went to daven as the Chazan. He went to daven Chazan Amar and he said Mashiv Ruach V'Nashav Zikon Marida Geshem the Mitra. He said Mashiv Ruach that the wind should blow, and then the wind started blowing. He said Marida Geshem the wind should descend, and the rain should descend, and then the rain started to descend. So my Amar Lei, my Avduch. So Rav said to this fellow, what do you do? How did you merit this? Amar Lei Mikri Dardikiana. Oh, I teach the children. Umakrina lebenei ani k'mei and I teach the poor children just like the children who come from wealthier families as well. Because anyone who it's not possible for him to pay, I don't take any money from him. Furthermore, V'is Lei Piri de Kaviri. I have a pond of fish. Rabbeinu Chananel explains he would get parnasa from this. He would make money off of this pond of fish. And anyone who doesn't want to learn, I bribe him, I give him some fish so that he'll learn. So not only did he not collect payment, but he actually paid other people to learn from his own pocket. And I fix them up and appease them until they actually want to learn. So the Ben Yehoyada over here explains that this is measure for measure, midah keneged midah, because he equated the poor people and the wealthy people together. Therefore, the rain was able to come in his merit because the rain is beneficial both to wealthy people and for poor people alike. He offers another explanation. The Ben Yahu explains that there are two things that he did. Number one is that he bribed them in order that they would like him, and then they would want to learn from him. And furthermore, he said that they would tell him a lesson. He would tell them the lesson. Take the lesson of fish. This is a beautiful idea, a deeper idea behind the fish over here. And he would say, look at these fish. They can only live if they're in the water. When you remove them from the water, they're going to die. So too people. The only way the Jews that we could live is if we have Torah. If we don't have Torah, then we're going to die. Like the episode that we discussed in Brachos on Samach Aleph Amid Beis with Rabbi Akiva. See the recordings over there, RabbiBlan.com for more details. And therefore, he was saying, you have to have life. And you have to be in the water to have that life. Beautiful idea. See over there in that Gemara for more details. And the idea over here is also he told them that these fish, they don't have eyelids that cover their eyes. They're always open. So too, when a person is learning, he can never close his eyelashes. Don't close your eyelids. Don't sleep. That is time to learn Torah when you have the opportunity to learn Torah. Beautiful idea. Good chizuk over there. Continuing the Gemara. Gemara says... Rav Nachman goes to Taanisi, Rav Nachman decreed a fast, and he started praying, and the rain didn't come. Amar Rav Nachman said, he said, take Nachman and throw him from the wall over there to the ground, which means if my prayers won't be accepted in heaven, what's the point of me being here anymore? He got weak, and then the rain came. Rabbi Gazartini said, Rabbi decreed a fast, and he prayed, and the rain didn't come. Amrle, they said, Rav Yehuda ki havi Gazartani says but Rav Yehuda, when he decreed a fast, the rain came. What can I do? He's at a better level. If it's from the learning. Don't say that it's because he had the learning of the Torah that was better than us. That's why he merited the rain. We're better than them. The Bishani, the Rav Yehuda, in the years of Rav Yehuda, we also learned this in Brachos and Dav Chav. See the recordings over there. Kol Tanuye bin Nezikin Havi. This is talking about in the time of Rav Yehuda, all they learned was Seder Nezikin. But we learned the whole Shas, Sidra Mishnah. Rav Yehuda and when Rav Yehuda reached Uksin, the last Masechta in Shas, and it talks about over there, let's say you have a woman who's pickling a vegetable in a pot over there. And some say, if you have olives that were pickled, so then the stems are going to be pure. Rashi explains over there that when she's pickling, their stems are pure. When she presses it, the stems become broken and you can't pick up the vegetable anymore from the stem, and therefore it's considered that the stem of the vegetable is detached from the actual vegetable, even though if the stem became impure, the actual vegetable, so then the stem would become impure if the vegetable became impure, or vice versa. Nevertheless, over here, once it's pressed, it's not a problem anymore. Amar, he said, Havayos, all of these questions that Rav Shmuel Kol Chazina Hacha, we see over here, which means we're doing a lot more than that. The reason to press it is you get the water, the liquid that comes out of it, and it helps dry it. So that's the idea over here, so that it lasts for a longer amount of time. So the idea over here is that once that's done, explains Rashi, then the leaves, the stems, it's pure. One part can't make the other impure. We have 13 yeshivas that learn this, or there's different explanations. See brachos over there. Ve'ilu, however, Rav Yehuda ki havi shalachad mitzayna otim mitzvah kvasav kuli am leikal derech kachba. Rav Yehuda, when you would remove one shoe, the rain would come. That was considered, as the commentators complain, it was considered a form of affliction, and the rain would come. But us, we yell the whole day, and no one pays attention to us. If it's because of this act, it's because of an act that I did that was improper. If someone saw something, let him come and tell me. What can we do that the leaders of the generation, that their generation isn't doime yafa, is not well, is not good, which means that they are not complete all the actions of the generation like in the previous generation of Rav Yehuda. It's interesting, the Gemara over here doesn't give the Maser Nafshayel Kedusha Hashem reason. But anyways, Rav Yehuda, Chazer Hanehu Beit Shrei Dahavi Ka Pritzi Beritva. Rav Yehuda, he saw that there were two individuals that were becoming pritzas. They were becoming immodest when it comes to bread. It's interesting. Usually we don't hear of the immodesty when it comes to bread, but how are they being immodest? Rashi says, Zurk and Zelazeh, they were throwing it to one another. We do not have the custom to throw it to each other. We, as in most Jews, certain Jews, they actually do throw it. The whole discussion of itself about that. Amar, basic halacha is not to throw it in Simon Kufayin or Kufayin Alf in Shulchan Aruch, if I'm not mistaken. See over there. See the recordings also, rabbiblond.com, and that's Simon for more details. Amar Shvamina, he said you can infer from here. Ika Sava Ba'alma, he said, oh, it must be that there's a lot of abundance in the world, and therefore they're being light when it comes to the bread. So what happened? Yevanayo havikafna. So Rav Yehuda looked at it, and then he said that there's gonna be now a famine because of this. They're not doing it properly. They're not treating it properly. There's gonna have to be a famine because of it over here. So the Gemara says, Amri le Rabbanan le Rav Kahana biro de Rav Yehuda Ishmael Mar. So the rabbis so they told him, the rabbis told Rav Kahana, the son of Rav Yehuda, the servant of Rav Yehuda, the Shkia Kaime, who was frequently in front of Rav Yehuda, Naasena de Lifok bepischa de Samak l'shulcha. So he said, let's go on the entrance, that we're going to go outside near the marketplace by the entrance. Asya, and then that's they did. V'nafkuk l'shuka chazi kafna. So that's what happened. So Rav Yehuda, he went out to the marketplace and he saw that there was a famine. They wanted to check out if there was a famine, and there in fact was. That's what happened. Amr lahu my high. So he told them, what's this about? Amrule, they said akusa de tamer kaime dekam is David, which means that. This is talking about that on a vessel, as Rashi explains, that was filled with dates or residue from the dates that what was there. Amar, he said, Shema mina kafim ba'alma. He said we can infer from here that there is a famine, which means that they went out to see how they gonna get food. What are they gonna do? They went outside to check out the situation. And so this is what was being sold over there. So they said we can infer that there's a famine. So he told the servant, take off my shoe. He took off one shoe, and then already the rain came. When he came to take off the other shoe, Eliyahu Navi came. And he said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he said, Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, if you're going to take off another shoe, you're going to destroy the world. The Yabbitz explains that he could get very cold from taking off the shoe and die. Different explanations. Amar Rav. So Rav said, Mari Bria de Bashmul. Rav, the son of the daughter of Shmuel, said a whole discussion in his name in and of itself. Look at Rashi in Brachos Tezayin Amid Aleph. Also Taisus in Baba Basra. Kof Mem Tes Amid Aleph. Ana Havi Kamino Agudo Dinar Papa. I was by the banks of the river of Papa. That was the name over there. And what chazan lemalchi di damu lemalchi. So he says, I saw the angels that were similar. They looked like they were sailors over there. To come maisi chala. Malchi might mean kings also. So they were by the they looked like sailors. To come maisi chala umal. They were bringing. Yeah, angels. They were bringing chol, Rashi explains, sand, and they were filling the arve. They were filling the boats. Vahavi kimcha disamidia, and then it would miraculously turn into fine flour. Also, kuli when everyone went to buy it. Amrlu, he told them, he said, no, don't buy from this because this is something that came from a miraculous act. Like we said before, you should distance yourself from miraculous acts. Interesting, Rashi's a little lighter language over here. He says, if it's possible to distance yourself from it, then you should distance yourself from it. A little bit lighter than before. There's a discussion about that in the commentaries. The next day, the next day, So it came the ships of ships of that were loaded with wheat from this place called Parzina, which means over here that now they were able to benefit because they got ships that came of other food. Rava Ikle leHarguna Gazar Tanisa Volatimitra. Rava visited Hargina. He decreed a fast, and the rain didn't come. Amalu. He told them, "Bitu kuli alma b'ta'anisaychu." Everyone should sleep in a fast. Lamacha. The next day, Amalu Mika dechazich amalema. Someone who had a dream, let him say it. Amar lay. Gears to change Rabbi Eliezer Maragona. So he said, So he said, so he told him, for me, I had a dream. And they said, peace should be to you, the rabbi, everything should be good to you, and the master should be good to you. The mituva meitiv amma, the one who does good for his nation. This is actually referring to that from the good that Rava was doing in his merits. So Hashem was going to do good to the nation. Amr, he said, Shema Mina Yisrael Sunni. You could see that it's an auspicious time. It's a special time. And it's time to pray. He prayed and then the rain came. Who there's an individual who was liable to get lashed because he had relations with the kusis. Rava lashed him and then he died. So this matter was heard in the house of Shavur the king, and they wanted um, to pain Rava by the king over there by Shavur because of what he did. Amrleh, he said Ifra. So rather Ifra said. Hormiz, Ifra Hormiz, Ime de Shavur Malka Libera, the mother of Shavur the king, he told his son, no, don't be involved with what the Jews are doing over here. The Kolman Deboyim Imarayu, because anything that they ask from their God, from their Creator, from Hashem, Yehevlahu, He gives it to them. Amar Allah, so he told his mother, Mahi, what is this? Boy Rachme Vatim Mitra. They ask for rain and then the rain comes. Amar Allah, Ahumishum Dizmatra, who El Boy Rachme Hayden Bekufas Tamas like the Mitra, which is when we're doing this. He said that's because it's the time for the rain. Rather, let them ask for rain in the month of Tammuz right now where we're in. And is the rain going to come? It's not going to come in the summer when it's not a rainy time. Really? So she sent over to Rava to pray for rain that the rain should come. He prayed, no rain came. He said, Rabbanu Shalom, answer the word of looking that Hashem in Bazninu in our ears we heard of your wonders. Avosinu Sapralanu our predecessors they told us spoke to us about what you've done. Poyel, Pal, Tabiyameh, and Bimekedem, all the actions that you did in their day and age. Close quote of the pasuk. V'anu be'einin lo but us with our eyes we didn't see it. Atu mitra the shafach marzin lidigila. So then the rain miraculously came until it poured from the gutters in Sipori till the rivers by the house that collects the rain over there. It poured nar ched gel. Rashi says. Also, Avu is so the father of Rava came and appeared to him in a dream. He said, "Hi, why are you burdening your Hashem so much? Why are you burdening them?" So he said, Amar Lay, the father of Rava told him, Shani du change your place. Shani du he changed his place. The next day he found that his bed had marks from knives. It was like it was stabbed. This is the demons like tried to get him, as Rashi explains over here. And there's another interesting Rashi over here with Nizaf. He says this is the place where there was Nizaf, where we find that that's what they say in the Gemara Chum Kufam Gimel that Rava he was excommunicated. This is considered the excommunication, so to say, Nizaf. Which is interesting when he prayed for this. Rav Papa, Gazar Tenis of Mitra. Rav Papa decreed a fast and the rain didn't come. Chalish Libe, he was weak. Saraf Pincha, he took a spoon to dice of porridge or a type of cereal-like substance, food. Ubay Rachme Mitra, and then he prayed and the rain didn't come. Amli Rav Nachman Bar Ush Bazise. So Rav Nachman said, he sort of Mar Pincha to the Isa Mitra. Maybe if you have another spoonful of food, so then the rain will happen. He got embarrassed and his mind was weak, and then the rain came. So it seems like the rabbi is making fun of Rav Papa, who, by the way, was large. The Gemara tells us that in another place. The Abbas explains that he was trying to instigate him a little bit to show, like, what are you doing over here? Is disgracing him, like what's going on over here? So that he'll be embarrassed for eating food and then davening and praying and then trying to get answered from that. So he's trying to embarrass him for trying to do such a thing, and then that embarrassment would atone for him, and then it would help the rain come. However, the Ben Yahu explains that no, he was positive, the rabbi. Maybe Rav Papa didn't eat enough, and therefore he wouldn't be able to have the proper strength to pray properly. And therefore maybe he needed to eat a little bit more so that he could pray with the proper intention and have the proper focus on his davening. But Rav Papa made a mistake and thought that he was actually trying to make fun of him. So that's why he was pained. So two different explanations and ways of doing this. Also, like Yitzchak, before he gave the bracha, he needed to get fed. The one time he was on the way, and the rain coming, and he said in front of Hashem, the entire world is doing very good, but me, I am in pain. The entire world is good because now they have rains for their fields, and they're gonna be good. Everyone is in their house and they're going to be taken care of. Their fields are taken care of. But me, I'm on the raid, and now I'm getting soaked. Pasuk Mitra, the rain stopped. When he reached his house, Amr Lefanov, and he said, Rabbeinu Shalom, and he said, the rain stopped, and he went to his house, and he said, Hashem, the entire world is in pain because they need the rain for their fields. But me, I'm good because everyone, they need a rain for their fields. But me, I'm good because I don't have a field. But the mitra, and then the rain came. Amr Rav Yosef, Ma'ana Hanya Leis holds to the Kohen Gadol. Lagabi Chanina ben Doises. So Rav Yosef said, how is it helpful the prayers of the Kohen Gadol even on Yom Kippur versus Chanina ben Doises? The Tanan, because the Mishnah says the Kohen Gadol would daven for rain to come, but Chanina ben Doises would say that the rain shouldn't come. Right? He would say, Rashi explains a short prayer on Yom Kippur when he would go in and he would say, don't listen to the travelers who are saying that the rain shouldn't come, because we need the rain. So Rabbi Chanina was that traveler, and he would nullify and cancel the prayers of the Kohen Gadol. Hashem would listen to him. Dittanam, because we have a Mishnah, this is a Maseches Yuma, Haimis Pal, Tefillah Kasara Beis Achitza, and he would pray the short prayer on the outer room. My Matzli, what would he pray? Rav and Bar Samed Rav Ada, Rav Bar Ada. They would say Damit Ravayim Mishmea. They would both say in the name of Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda, Ratzam of Hashem Lokinu, it should be the will in front of Hashem our God. Shetiheh Hashana Hazet. This year should be Geshuma v'Shechuna, rainy and dry. Shechuna Mel Yossi Adra Abigrusi. It should be dry. That's a good thing. On the contrary, that's a bad thing. No, Ella rather im shechuni tikegushuма. Rather, if it's dry, it should be rainy. Vitalula, and it should have like dew in it. Valikonatafan of tilu tells drachman. It shouldn't enter in front of you the prayers of the people who are traveling. Rav Acha bir Rav Mesai Mishmed Rav Yehuda. Rav Acha, the son of Rav, he concluded in the name of Rav Yehuda. Lo Yaadi, that you shouldn't interrupt. Avid Shultan Medbeis Yehuda. You shouldn't interrupt the rulership coming from the tribe of Yehuda. And people shouldn't need to get supported from one another or not for another nation. Continue next time.